Good morning. Kathy, Crowder's Mountain, North Carolina. Now, the video before this one was me drawing out the pattern. So if you want to know how to draw this barn quilt, then just go look at the video right before this one. And before I get started, I just want to thank a couple of people. One lady is named Ann, and the other one is named Pat. They'll know who they are. They are so encouraging to me. When I put a barn quilt tutorial up on YouTube, I always try to share it to a couple of Facebook groups. One is Barn Quilt Addicts, and then the other one is Barn Quilt International. And you all are just so supportive of me. But these two ladies, it seems like anytime somebody asks a question about how to paint or how to draw a particular pattern, they've watched my videos and they share that information with the person asking the question. And they're just so encouraging. They'll say, I learned this from Kathy. She's just so good at explaining, and I always think that I struggle with that. And for them to say that they understood what I said and they enjoy these videos, it just really uplifts me, and it keeps me encouraged. And as long as you guys are watching the videos, I'm going to keep making them. And I just appreciate you all. And let's get to painting. Okay, here we go. We're going to start on it. Now, I put the tape on the back just so I could keep the bottom clean. Try to keep my fingerprints off the back. Alright, and here she is. If you can see those lines, I've already drawn the cross. And I'm not sure, you could probably see some of them. But I've already got it drawn on my board with my heat erasable pens. And we're ready to start taping it up. Let me get my paint and we'll be ready to go. Okay, before I get started on that, the client that I have that wants this particular barn quilt, she likes to have glitter in her paint. And I'm not so sure you've seen me do this before, but you know, I always try to make up enough to have enough to do the barn quilt plus any touch-ups. So I think that'll be plenty. You know, I like these bottles just for that. I don't have to worry about my paint getting lumps and clumps in it, and I just shake it up. Now that should do that. All right, now this is glitter. It's a paint additive, and you can put it in paint and wood varnishes. And I had this pack for a couple of years actually, because it just doesn't take much. You want enough in there to see it. Is that not just beautiful? You want enough in there to see it, but you don't have to put a whole lot. And you really can see, honestly, you can see this in the sunshine when you've got it out on a fence or something. When you walk by it, you can actually see the glitter in the paint. And she has one hanging up that's maybe 2 years old, and the glitter's still pretty when you walk by it. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's in there. And this paint, this glitter, is not like the glitter that you get in the craft stores. This paint, this glitter is actually made for paint. I wish you could see this. It's just so pretty. It's like playing in glitter, but... And then when I get it on there, you can really see it. All right. So we've got that. Now we're ready to paint. This was limousine leather and heirloom red, in case I forget to tell you when we get done. So this particular barn quilt really only has, let's see, we have 5 colors. We've got a dark gray, a light gray, black and red and white. Yep. All right, let me tape up some and then I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to show you this. Some folks like to see how I tape. So what I'm doing first is just taping up my border. So when I put my tape down, you see this is my line, and I'm going right up against that line. You see that? Now I don't need to tape that because that's going to be the, we're going to have a double border. So I'm just protecting the outside edges here. We're going to make sure we burnish it down good, because if we don't, if there's any humidity or anything in here, it will come back up. All right. Okay, now, I think what we're going to do first is paint the cross. And see, my problem is I don't know if you guys can see this or not. So we're going to try it, and if you can't see it, I can tell when I'm editing. So I may just ditch this part of the video. But we need to, just for the sake of that, don't have anything in it. See if this is all right. Okay, so we need, this is going to be dark and that's going to be light, and you can't see that because it's not writing. Pen's about out. Then this will be light and this will be dark. And this is light and dark. And all 4 of the ends will be dark. So dark and light. And I need to actually draw this line. There you go. So see, that light color is going to go all the way up in here. The dark is dark right in here. I'll show you how, when I tape it, you can see it. Okay, so we're going to do our dark color first. Actually, I may have told you wrong. This is dark and light, but this, the four ends of the cross will be black. Yeah, they're black. So what I'm doing now is taping where my darkest gray is going to be. Let's just put that down first. So when I got it straight, now I can do this one. Okay, so I've got this part taped up. Now, watch. See this? This is that mini scraper that I talk about. And you see how this is dark. And so I need to come in here. See, I'm not damaging my wood or anything else by cutting with this scraper. It's just so much easier. Alright, so this part here is dark too. You see how I'm holding my tape too? I've tried different things like the tape dispenser, but it just didn't work as good as just holding it like this and pulling it when you need it. It seemed like I don't waste tape that way. Some folks are good at just eyeballing how much they're going to need without wasting it, but I'm not one of them. Right, so now I'm going to get rid of the lines. Okay, right here, I done something wrong. Well, not wrong, but I didn't tape it up exactly right, because this part needs to go down in here. So at some point, I've got to cut this. Good. All right. See, what I did is line that tape up with that other one. I'm not going to cut it way down there, but that gave me a good place to line it up. Now, there you go. No. See, this one's supposed to go across here. It's always look good to go back and look at your pattern. Make sure I got it right. Okay, now we got it. Now that the lines are gone, my marks, all I'm going to do is just press it down, burnish it, whatever you want to call it. And now we're ready to start painting. Now when I said dark, I just meant that it's darker on this side than the other side. So this is called Metropolis. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I like using this. This is one of my favorite grays. Now we don't have glitter in this paint. We're only putting the glitter in the red and black. Now it's important to get thin coats now. And I like going beside of my tape like that. So that way I feel like it gives that paint a chance to activate the sealer in the tape. And, you know, I can eliminate as much bleed through as I can that way. All right, now I'm going to put 3 coats on here. And you know, I'll dry it. If you're using a hair dryer or one of these little heat tools, don't get too close to it and keep it moving. You don't want to blister that paint. And if you've got it the least bit too thick, it'll blister. Or if you hold it down there. I'm not going to take the tape up. I'm going to tape some other sections, and I think I'm going to tape. So I'm going to tape up my red, and let's see. So the red, and this is another good thing with this heat pen. Now you can mark them, you know, with pieces of paper, or if you had some tape left over, you could say red right here, so you'd keep up with where you're supposed to be painting at. But it's so much easier if you've got this heat erasable pen, and I can just say red, and I know where my red's supposed to be. And it's not so much on these small barn quilts that you're doing. I mean, you could kind of keep up with that just by looking at the picture. But if you've got a big one like a square and a half or something like that that's got a whole lot of color on it, it sure is easier to mark them before you get started. Let me wash my brush out. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't use any of my really favorite brushes. I use good brushes, but I don't use my favorite ones when I'm putting glitter. So I've got brushes that I just kind of use for glitter. So I'm going to tape up my triangles here that are supposed to be red. Okay, so I've got my triangles over here taped off, and I was trying to leave as much of this on here as I could for as long as I could before I pulled it up, but trying to move it out of the way, I've almost got it already pulled up. Just there you go. Now, so I'm pulling away. Remember, pulling away from my paint. I missed a spot right there, but I can fix it. It's not a problem. Here you go. See that? We got our first color on the cross. Now I'm going to paint the red, and then I'll paint that. That gives that a little time to breathe and kind of get settled in before I put tape back on top of it. But it probably wouldn't hurt anything if I just went right on and put it on top. That's, if it's good and dry, you can put your tape right over top of it. As long as you put thin coats. If you got that paint too thick, it's going to pull up. All right. Okay, here we go. Here comes the glitter. And I'm not sure that that's picking up. I wish you could see it. And then you noticed when we were putting the red on, it goes at the top of the cross and the bottom and on each side. In case you were wondering which of these little triangles that I colored in. All right, I'll be back. Okay, we've got 4 coats on there of our red paint, heirloom red, and it's got the paint glitter in it. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little while before I try to peel that off, because I want it to get really good and dry. I don't want my paint to peel. So I'll be back in just a little while. Now see, I'm going to use that tape again because it's got a perfectly good side to it. See how pretty already? All right, now I think I'm going to tape up the rest of the cross. Well, the lighter colors, not these ends. And I'll leave the camera running. That way, that just gives that a little bit more time to settle before I put tape over top of it. Okay, so I rinsed it out, and you see how it's all wonky looking, all separated, and it's not smooth and flat like this one. All right, now I saw this, and I'm going to go try it, and I'll show you before I'm finished. I will show you if it works or not. But I saw somebody have their brushes like this, and see, like this one, and instead of just giving up on them and throwing them away, they got a pot of boiling water, and when it started boiling, they just stuck their the tip of the paintbrush down in that boiling water, and when it came back out, that was as pretty as it ever was, like it was brand new. So I'm going to try that. I'll let you know if it works. All right, let's let this dry, and then I'll peel that tape off. Okay, now I'm going to paint the ends of the cross. I'm just going to tape it up, and I'm using limousine leather, but I'm not putting any glitter in it at all. So let me tape it up. And I think you guys will be able to see this. if I use the, I just got through saying I wasn't going to use this tape because I didn't know if y'all could see it. But I think for this little part right here, it'd be okay. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm just using it just like I'm taking it off the roll. It's good and dry, and I can still burnish it down. See, like that. Polyurethane. Watch this. Did you see that? Watch this one right here. You see it? It just kind of brings that to the surface. We'll see it again. That's fun, ain't it? It's just so pretty. I just love it. I love it. And the person that asked for this, I had put some in something one time and she saw it. Look. Don't you just love it? Oh, I know what it was. When I made a Grinch hand. That's what it was. I made the Grinch hand, and then for the ornament in the middle, I put the glitter in it, and then I went over it with that card by accident. And I was like, wow, that just brings it out that much more. So that's what you do if you put glitter in your paint. And see, if people turned off my video before this point, they didn't get to see that part, did they? Y'all did. All right, let me get rid of this, and I'm going to paint them real thin coats. Probably put 4 coats on it with the black, and I'll be back. Okay, I've got the 4 coats on here, but I'm going to leave it sitting just a second before I take it off. And I'm going to tape up the other black sections that has the glitter in it. So here's what I did one time before. I left that white, and I ended up kind of with a mess, really, because I had painted that black, and I couldn't really go over it again without messing it up, so I just left it and painted the client another one. Well, somebody else come along and saw it, and they liked it just the way it was. So even if that happens to you, there'll be somebody that really likes the way your boo-boo turned out. So just think about that. But what I'm going to do, so I don't mess up again, I'm going to tape this part first, because it's supposed to be white. So the outside's supposed to be white, so all this is black in here. But you see how I drew the box, and I put an X through it so that I would get my center perfect. And that's what I wanted. So I'm taping that up first. Okay, we're getting there. Look at us. I just got to tape all this up because all this is going to be ultra white. And I'll tape all that up. Hopefully I can do all the white at one time. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but here's all my used tape from the glitter, the red and black glitter portions of the barn quilt. So I wouldn't use this on anything else if you didn't want glitter on it. But I'm going to use it as long as I can flip the tape back on the black. I'm going to use it like this. Like that. And then for the red, I'll flip it back onto the red. You see what I'm doing? Now I've got to cut that, but you see what I mean? That way I don't get glitter where it shouldn't be, because there's glitter. You know, I painted it with this tape, so there's glitter in this, on this part of the tape. All right, I'm going to tape that up, and I'll let the camera roll, and then what I'll probably do is fast forward it. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm going around taping up all these triangles. But I don't know if you can see it or not because I've used the other side of my tape. But right in here, there's like quarter size areas that's not taped up. And I don't really need it to be taped up. But because I've got so much white to put on here, just for safety's sake and no other reason, I'm using these little scraps and I'm just putting it over top of that little spot that's not covered. Stick it on there that way. See, and it's just safety. That's all it is. You don't have to do that. Don't think you do, but it's just extra measure. Like putting in 13 eggs in a dozen. All right, I'm going to finish taping it up. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get through taping. But all I'm doing is flipping my tape around. And I'm using my tape again. I'm using the other side of my tape that I used to tape up the glitter red. And I'm using the black right here on the parts that I used, on the sections where I used the black glitter. All right, so let me be sure I told you what I'm doing. All right, you see this is the red tape that I used when I taped up these sections, the red sections, with the that's got the glitter in the paint. Well, all I'm doing is flipping my tape around, and I'm using the other side. Now, I don't use the tape that's got glitter on it anywhere else, except when I'm taping up the sections that has the glitter, because I didn't want glitter anywhere else in my barn quilt. So there's glitter on that side of that paint where I just painted, because there's glitter on that, on here. So I don't want it anywhere else. And because that's red already, it's not going to hurt anything if some of that glitter comes off onto that section. So, and I used the black scraps on the black parts. All right. So here I go again. Let me stop taping just for a second to show you something that took me a while to learn the hard way. So I need my tape to go here. All right, if I put it down this way, now I'm pressing it down here, but I'm not going all the way to that corner, because if I do, when I try to lift it up, it'll pull the bottom tape off. So I'm not pressing it down on the corner. I'm just taking my scraper and cutting it. So that corner's still taped up. Where am I at? Can you see it? Yeah, there it is. That corner's still taped up real good. All right, I'm gonna just keep going now. Let me show you something. Let me show you something else. You see this little gray line? When I was putting my tape down, I realized that this is not exactly straight. So I'm gonna fix it I made my tape straight, and I'm gonna just paint over that instead of trying to justify making this just a tiny bit wider than that. I'm not gonna do it. I'll just fix it. And then when it's hanging up on a building, nobody will never know, but I will. I'll know it. So I'm gonna fix it. All right. So you see, I've got everything all taped up, if I don't make you dizzy. All right. I've got it all taped up, and I'm losing my daylight. So I'm just going to paint all this white. Let me press that down before I forget. Okay. All right. Got it all pressed down. I'm going to get rid of my lines, and then I'm going to tape it up. Keep coming up, don't it? Could be the humidity in here. or the lack of, I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to paint it all white, and I'll be back when I'm finished. I'm going to put 3 coats on it. And you see I've already got my border taped up. I did that before we started painting any of this, remember? Okay, I'll be back in a little while. Let me show you something else. Alright, this is a little condiment cup, like 2 ounces. I can't turn it over because and show you how wide it is because it'll pour out. But anyway, it's a little condiment cup, and I'm getting ready to paint all this white. And I don't know about you, but when you get to putting that 3rd coat of white on sometime, it just wants to kind of, I don't know, it just wants to get thick, even though you're trying your best to get it, put thin coats on there. So here's one thing that I do. This is Floetrol, Floetrol. And I don't have the jug down here, but I keep it in one of these Lole Vete bottles. And you just have to shake it up because it does separate, so you have to shake it up before you use it. But a little cup like that, I'm just going to put like a little squirt in it, if it'll come out. Had a little film over top of it. See, I'm just putting a little squirt. See that? That's all I'm putting in there, because it does not take much. And now this is not a paint thinner, it's a paint conditioner. So it just makes it flow better. It doesn't thin it out, it just helps it to flow better. And just mix it up good. And y'all know I tell you about that, those sample paints, how to me they just stink. I'm sorry, but they just stink. This Floetrol smells worse. Whew. And sometimes you can get paint boogers in your paint, especially those samples. Well, honey, that Floetrol can get some boogers in it, for sure. So make sure I get that stirred up good. Okay. Now we ought to be good. All right. I'm gonna paint all this area in here, and I'll be back. Okay, she's all taped up, all painted up. All I like is the border. So I'm just gonna let the camera roll, and if this video doesn't get too long, I'll leave this section up in the video. I'll upload it in the video. Because I don't want the video to get too long, but I just thought y'all might think it's fun to watch as I peel the tape off. Okay, I got it all peeled off, and I see some little boo-boos that I'm going to have to come back and touch up. Especially right here, there was a little gob of white paint that wasn't dry when I took it off. Now, what really helped on these, see that white paint got on that. This didn't peel at all. And I think what helped it, I left it overnight before I came back and peeled it off, because it was getting late last night. So anyway, now I'm going to peel this tape off around, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, because this is going to be a double border. So I'm going to tape this up and this. Well, you couldn't see that. I'm going to tape up around my pattern, and then I'm going to tape down here so that this 1 inch border is going to be the lighter gray. So that, like I said, this is going to be a double border. So we're going to paint the light one, the inside part first. I think that'd be the easiest. So I'll get that taped up, and I'll be back in just a little while. Almost finished with her. So I've got the inside border. Now I'm going to put the outside border on, and it's going to be this dark gray color called Metropolis. And I'll be back. And I've got some of my touch-ups done. I still like a few. And I'll be back as soon as I finish. And then I'll show you the pattern again so you can take a screenshot of both of them.